este as a Mexican Spanish filler word is used all the time. And it's very simple. It's basically like or ¿Qué onda mis cuates? What's going on, guys? Levi here with Mexican Fluency, where we talk about all things Mexico and all things Mexican Spanish. In this video today, we're going to be talking about Mexican Spanish filler words. So to keep things simple, I'm just going to cover 4 specific words that you really need to learn in this part 1 video. Pues si estás listo, if you're ready, qué bueno, let's get started. So you might be asking, why are Spanish filler words so important? Like, what are they? Why do I need to know this? So whenever you're hearing rapid conversation in Spanish, and in this case Mexican Spanish, you are always going to hear these little well, okay type of words mixed into rapid conversation. And if you can identify, if you're familiar with these little filler words, it's going to really slow down the rapid conversation that otherwise would be very confusing to you, and you would not know where one sentence was beginning and where one was ending. So I think that learning these from the beginning is really going to help you to much better understand real conversational Mexican Spanish, and then also whenever you are beginning to speak much more, you will be that much better when the time comes. Listo! Alright, let's get started. So like I said in the introduction, these are Spanish filler words, specifically Mexican Spanish filler words. So all the ones that I'm covering in this part 1, later part 2, part 3, part 4, these are all going to be used in Mexico, but you can take these wherever you go, to anywhere else in Latin America or over to Spain, and you can use them there as well. Okay? Alright guys, Mexican Spanish filler word número 1 is pues. So pues is used at the beginning of a sentence, or used when you are making a pause to think about something. Okay? So it's the equivalent of like, well, or something like that, right? So you say, if somebody's asking you a question, you could say, pues, no lo sé. So it's like saying, well, it's a hesitation, right? So you hear that a lot at the beginning of sentences, and also just on its own is kind of signifying that somebody is making a pause to think about something before they make a decision or before they say something that they need to communicate. So if you're unfamiliar with pues, this can be very confusing when you're listening to rapid Spanish conversation, because you'll hear this little pues thrown in, and you might hear a couple words that you understand or some expressions that you understand, but then the pues, pues, that might really confuse you. So hopefully now you'll be able to pick up on this a little bit better. Mexican Spanish filler word number 2, número 2, is este. Este can mean other things as well, and we'll look into that in other videos, but basically este is like this, like este vaso, for example. But este as a Mexican Spanish filler word is used all the time, and it's very simple. It's basically like or it's a hesitation, right? It's like saying I don't know. So where do you want to go to dinner tonight? I don't know. No lo sé. Okay? So you hear that all the time in Mexican Spanish conversation. And for the longest time, when I was learning back over a decade ago, I remember hearing intermixed in constantly, and it drove me insane. So whenever I have been away from Spanish, or been away from Mexico for a while, when I'm speaking, I will actually use when I'm thinking instead of este. So I try to reincorporate that into my speaking on purpose, so that it's communicating a little bit better, because doesn't really mean much in Mexico, but if I say este while I'm thinking, it makes a lot more sense. Mexican Spanish filler word number 3, número 3, is órale. So you've probably heard órale at some point in your life, and you might not really understand 100% how to use it or what it means exactly, right? So órale actually has, I would say, 2 different meanings. So you hear órale, pues. A lot of times in between sentences, or if I say something, the person might respond to me, órale, or órale pues. And órale in this sense is like, okay. It's basically signifying, okay. Okay, well, okay. Something like that. Also, if you say something that's like surprising, you might, or something like dramatic, you might be responded to by a Mexican as órale, órale, something like that. And that's like, wow, like keep going, wow, right? And so you also hear in Mexican Spanish, you'll hear wow. You do hear wow, but órale is very Mexican, and it really does mean those two different things, but it's always depending on the context, always. Mexican Spanish filler word number 4, número 4, is sale. So sale, this is a good one. This is a really good one. This is very Mexican. So in Spain, you will hear vale to signify okay, or like, okay, yeah, okay, vale, vale. I noticed in Colombia and also in Argentina, the times that I've been there, you hear dale, dale, dale pues. And that's also like, okay, okay, cool, okay, okay. And then in Mexico, you will hear sale more and more. This is more and more common. The S version of this. I have no idea why this became a thing. I don't know why everybody just doesn't say vale, right? But, which you do hear every now and then, you'll hear a Mexican say vale, vale, kind of borrowing that from Spain, from Castilian Spanish. But it's very Mexican to say sale, sale pues, sale, okay? So, very interesting, right? And if you pick up on these Mexican filler words, you're going to begin to slow down what would otherwise be very rapid conversation. And then you can also take these words and begin to practice incorporating them into your speaking, which will make you sound much more Mexican and just much more native in general over time. So, practice these, and that's all we got for this video. If you like this video, guys, if you like what I'm doing here with Mexican Fluency, make sure to follow me on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I also have a podcast, the Mexican Fluency Podcast, that is a Spanish immersion podcast. I also have courses. I have the Spanish Fundamentals course that is made for more beginners, and then I have the Spanish Immersion program that is made to go along with the podcast. So you're going to be getting transcripts, you're going to be getting vocabulary breakdowns of each episode, etc., etc., etc. So check everything out. That's all I got for this video, guys. Muchas gracias por su apoyo. Thank you for your support. Y nos vemos muy pronto. Adiós.